Hi there, it's Wednesday, so it's Happy Hump Day. Patience. Is this something that you have or that you don't have? It's interesting because patience is often described as a virtue and impatience is seen as a character flaw, something that you should want to avoid and not something that you'd want to aspire to. But when you're leading change, when you're trying to get progress in an organisation, impatience is sometimes really good for you. Now, this isn't impatience that's testy or rude or nasty to people. Instead, it's an impatience that's a restlessness, a hunger for change, a hunger to make things better in your organisation. Because it's this restlessness, your desire to not sit back, but to make progress. It's that hunger that's going to create the energy, the focus, and the determination that you and your team need to be able to get things done. There's an old Peter Drucker statistic which says that about 50% of technological breakthrough that influences an industry organisation actually comes from outside that industry. Now, that statistic is even more relevant today because you need to change as an organisation if you want to continue to thrive. So if you're patiently sitting around and waiting for someone else to lead the change or waiting for everything to be in place before you make the change, that window of opportunity may well pass you by. Patient people can stand back and wait for someone else to make the change because they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to force their opinion on people. Whereas there are times when you're trying to make change and trying to make progress, when you do need to be impatient, you do need to still listen and consult to people, but know that you need to push things forward. And this is you backing yourself, taking a stand, and that requires courage, and it also requires integrity because you're making change with a greater good in mind. This isn't change that's all about you. And you also need to find ways to work and collaborate with people. Being able to get things done, this is at the crux of change leadership. And as a leader, you need to be able to secure that organisational alignment, the commitment that you need from the people around you, and harness all that energy so that you can work through what needs to get done. Prevarication and inertia isn't going to help you. When you're impatient, you also recognise that you need to make decisions, and sometimes with imperfect information. Look, that's really hard to do. Particularly as a leader, you're often told you have to be certain, you have to be sure, you have to have all your facts. But sometimes when you're making a change, you won't have all the information that you need. And so that means that not every decision you make is going to be perfect. That's okay. It's about learning from that decision, learning from the process, the procedure, the decision that you're making, and looking at the consequent outcomes and working out what you do differently next time. This is about experimentation and learning. I often say to people, it's like thinking about yourself like a scientist. So if you think about a scientist, what they do is they have hypothesis, and then they're testing that hypothesis through a number of different iterations and processes to work out what's going to work, what's not going to work. You need to do the same because you need to test, you need to check, you need to apply different types of thinking, different types of learning. And you need to be willing to question and challenge what's around you. Because to move forward, this is about you exploring, examining, creating, and then being willing to alter and iterate until you get the outcome that you're striving for. Lots to think about this week. Take care, and I'll see you next week.